everyone, you're watching Global Leaders Network, WINTV. I'm your host, Yesa-Yun. There are many leaders in this world, such as governments, non-for-profit organizations, business, education, art industry, etc. Global Leaders Network invites these types of leaders and share their wonderful stories. Today, I invited Steve Balich from Will County. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
So you are a Will County board member, correct?
Yes, I've been a board member for 7 years.
Oh, wow. Would you please introduce yourself a little bit?
Well, my name's Steve Balich, and I'm on the Will County board, and I represent Homer, Glen, Lockport, and part of New Lenox. And I'm a South Side Chicago guy, and most of my life was in trucking. And then I was working for the jail as a inventory control or operator, the last job I had. But I've done real estate, and I was the head of the president for Tucson Unified School District when I lived in Arizona for education. And I started after school programs. And I've done a real lot in my life, but I think the guiding reason that I'm able to do so many things is I'm secure in myself. And that my dad told me when we're growing up, if you're willing to do the work, you can achieve almost anything. But you got to be willing to go out and do the work. So I learned it the hard way. I started on the docks when I was in like 5th grade, working unloading trucks for my dad's company. And then by the time I was in high school, I was already driving a truck. I didn't even have a license, but I was driving a truck, delivering freight. And I learned how to do billing and dispatching and anything to do with trucking. Ended up going into business for myself for a while. Then I decided to get a real estate license, so I sold real estate. When I lived in Arizona, I got licenses to sell tax sheltered annuities to retired people. And then I decided to expand that, and I was selling revocable living trust. So I did a lot of stuff, and whatever I did, I always seemed to move to the top because of my work ethic that I learned from my dad as a kid, to work hard and you can achieve anything. And I guess when I was I worked for a division of travelers called Copeland, and I was number 10 in the whole United States at the time for one type of a sale. And I had no experience in sales other than freight.
Then, what do you think about Illinois politics?
Oh, now that's a $6 million question. Okay, Illinois politics is a blood sport. You think everything's going fine, you walk into a room and everyone's being nice to you, but it's like the old days in Rome. There's a dagger waiting to stab you. So I've learned that early on. I was a Homer Township trustee for 8 years and a clerk for almost 4. And while I was a trustee at the township, that was when President Obama was elected. You know, and then there was that was when I was a clerk, excuse me. But don't matter, the same principle. I wrote an ordinance that said that we enforce immigration law as it exists in the law. Nothing new, just that we in Homer Township, where I live, enforce that law. And that English will be the official language of Homer Township. That's in the Illinois Constitution. And that all schools will verify residency. So we stop getting kids from all over the place coming to our schools, and then we have to pay the bill. Because there were kids from everywhere. So you think that would be real easy to pass, right? No, it was, you know, when I said I'm going to do it, everyone's like, yeah, okay. Well, the first time it came up, it failed. The people on that board didn't want to do it. Why? I don't know. They just didn't want to do it. One vote. The second time, it passed. A month later, I came back and rewrote it again. And I came and did it again. That's the work ethic. You don't give up. Just fight until you win. And I did. And it passed. And once it passed, then all the turmoil started, because now it became not what I said. It became that I wanted English only, and that if you talk a foreign language, you get lost. And that isn't what we were saying. So politics, like I said, is a blood sport. Then we had another time when I was a trustee, not a clerk. The Supreme Court passed a law that said that eminent domain could be when you own a piece of property, but it's more valuable for the municipality or the state to take your property and give it to a private company because they'll get more tax money. Well, I made an ordinance in Homer Township, which passed, that said that we don't prescribe to what the Supreme Court said, and that we're not going to obey that law. And if somebody tries to do that for our residents, we would back them up. In other words, we would end up hiring a lawyer to support those people because they're being taken advantage of by the government. I don't know how it is now. I know those laws are still in the books, but I don't know how, because I've been out of the township now for about 8 years. So I don't know what they're doing with it. But the point is that you can never give up despite everybody being against you. Or some people, or whatever, it don't matter. If you feel you're right, you need to stand up for yourself, and that's what the people that elect you want. They don't want some coward that sits in a chair and shuts their mouth. Illinois politics has a bunch of that. Because the last issue, which I know we'll probably talk about later, but when I decide that something's wrong, I'm going to fight for it. And that would be the abortion issue. But I didn't talk about abortion. Now, I'm pro-life, 100%. I believe a baby is a baby at conception. But I'm not going to judge somebody.
Right.
No, I'm not going to say you go to hell because you don't agree with me, right? So that's kind of where I stand on that. But I don't think that anybody that's a human being thinks it's okay to kill a live baby.
Okay, we're going to talk about that later. Let's save it, okay? So tell us about Will County a little bit.
Will County is a place that in the the later 1800s, early 1900s, there was a battle between Joliet and Chicago to see who would be the dominant city. Because Joliet has all the exact same things as Chicago. And even today, we have an airport, it's just a little smaller than O'Hare, which was annexed by connecting pipelines.
Right.
But it's called Lewis Airport. So we have an airport. We have a canal with barges going up and down it every day. We have the largest inland port in North America. And I heard it was the largest inland port in the world because they just expanded, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So let's just say North America. So we have rail all over the place in Will County. We have a lot of educated people for jobs that require a specific task. And then we have a lot of people that can do blue collar work, which is today probably more important than the other work because everybody needs a carpenter, an electrician, people in the building trades. And we have a lot of those people where, you get in the city, and actually even where we're at, the kids grow up and they think they got to go to college. Well, that's fine. If everyone goes to college, who's going to fix your toilet when it overflows, right? And when you need electricity, the wires, something breaks because of a storm, who's going to fix it? So you need the trades. The trades are so important, and we have that. So when you talk about Will County, we're just a smaller Chicago as far as the amenities that we have. So I'm real proud to live in Will County.
What made you to be involved in politics?
Well, back in the day, when I was a kid, I walk around with a Mayor Daley shirt. My dad give me and my brothers, we're all glad we had Mayor Daley. We liked Mayor Daley, right? My dad wasn't a political guy, so to speak, but everybody liked Mayor Daley. Why? Because he told it like it was, and he was tough, and he didn't put it up with any garbage. And he got the job done. So we grew up like that. So I don't know exactly how old I was, but in 1983, I was a ward committeeman for the Republican Party, and when Bernard Epton ran against Harold Washington. Now, to get to that position, what I did prior to that, I don't remember. But whatever, it don't matter. And then from then on, I've always been in politics. And I enjoy politics.
And another question that I have is, recently, you sent me the video, right, regarding to the meeting of Reproductive Health Act,
Right.
which is abortion. So what's your view on that?
Well, like I was trying to say earlier, I believe that a baby is a baby at conception. But my beliefs are immaterial when you get into politics. And I don't want to be, again, like if you said, well, I'm getting an abortion, I would tell you, well, I don't think you should, and why? But I'm not going to be, I'm not God, so I have no business judging you, so I'm not going to judge you. And when you're done having your abortion, I'd be one that you could talk to, and because most women that have it feel really bad, usually 3 to 4 years later. But, you know, it's not my place to judge people.
But what happened
But
during the meeting?
Well, I looked at the law, and then I knew about a lady named Jill Stanek. She worked at Christ Hospital in the early 2000s, and she was a nurse, and she was asked to go into a different job for a day because the lady that was supposed to be there didn't show up, and it was called a warming room. And in that room, when an abortion came and the baby came out alive, not aborted, they were to hold the baby in a blanket until it died. No water or food. Because the baby was supposed to be aborted. So I know this has been going on. And that was before the new law. But now there's a new law for late-term abortions. And I don't want to talk about what happens with a late-term abortion, but at some point, sometimes, the baby comes out again, and the baby's alive, breathing air. And the baby is killed or let to die. So now, if you're a human being, I don't care where you come from, it's inherent in human beings to know that it's wrong to kill another human being. And I don't care where I go, I can ask you, do you think it's okay to kill a live baby? And the answer is no. Nobody's going to say it's okay. So I figured that I would make a statement. Then I gave it to one of my friends, Judy Ogala. Then she got Dave Smith from Illinois Family Institute to go over and make sure that we didn't say something that was offensive to people. So there were 3 people involved with the writing of it.
Right.
And then Judy Ogala is on the leadership for the county board. So she brought it to the speaker, who's a Democrat now. And the speaker says that we can't read it as a proclamation. Why? Because a proclamation has to be voted on. And she doesn't want to force her people, her Democrats, to vote on it. Why? I don't know. But I found out why. Because they consider the Democrat side of our caucus, they consider that as part of the abortion. So they can't separate the two, obviously. Because this was in May when we did the proclamation from our desks. Judy read it from sitting in there. Then last month was Respect Life Month. So I talked to a pastor, Herb Brooks, who's on the county board, and I told him, I said, you know, when you're on the county board, like a pastor or like any person that's in a position of power or influence, when you die, you got to go before God, and he's going to say, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you stick up for what was right? Were you a coward? And Herb agreed. So I said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go up to the front of the meeting, and we're going to do just a statement, not even a proclamation. And then I'm going to ask everybody if they agree to, I'll acknowledge it by standing. And then Herb says, well, we got to get the language right. So he says, I'm going to ask around and get the language right. And I figured, I don't really care what the language is, as long as we're hitting the target point, that we don't want to kill live babies. So it was protection for live babies.
But some people argue that men have no right to say women whether they can abort baby or not. What do you think?
Well, all right, if I'm a man, and if I don't want to pay child support, where's my rights? Like, you want to have a baby and I don't want you to because I'm too cheap to pay for the baby, right? So I tell you, hey, I want you to abort the baby. It's my right, I don't want to pay, right?
Yeah, but they're basically saying that it's their body, you know?
Well, it is their body, but there's more involved in their body. What if if I knock some girl up, I'd be like, hey, have the baby, I'll take care of it. Don't kill it, right? Where's my rights? No, so if a woman says, well, it's my body, well, it is her body. I get that part. And that's why I said earlier, if a woman says, I'm going to get an abortion because it's my body, I'll do what I want.
That's their statement.
That's theirs. I mean, I can't force somebody to do what I want. And I can't judge somebody because only God can judge you. So I'm not going to lose respect for you. I disagree with you. That's all. But in my mind, it is your body, and you do have a choice what you do to your body. But the baby is like something that I look at differently than women that believe in that. I look at it, the baby is a human that's inside of you. And now in the third trimester, it's actually a developed human that's inside of you. Okay, so you say it's my body. Well, what about the baby? That's a human. It just didn't breathe air yet. And in the case of afterbirth abortion, it is breathing air. So at what point does our society say, okay, guess what? It's your life, you do what you want. So now, I think in China, I think they lifted it, but they used to say if you get a girl baby, the girl baby got to die because there's no value.
One-child policy.
And then Ezekiel Emanuel, that was Rahm Emanuel's brother, when they did the Affordable Care Act, he said there's no value for a baby to age 2. So does that mean you should be able to kill a baby up to age 2? And then there's no value for somebody when they get older. And I don't remember how the bell curve went, but let's just say it was if you're over 62, there's no value to you anymore either.
I'm wondering who actually decide the value. I mean,
well, that's the other thing. Cultural Marxism. That's a term. That's just it's like a vague term. But what that means is, in order for socialism or communism to take root, they got to destroy what we believe in now.
right.
So what they're doing is like when they say we're going to take these statues down that have been up for 100 years because this guy had slaves. Well, hundreds of years, they had slaves. So what? That was the society then. You can't take how they were then and move it to now and say them guys were bad. We can't say you give them a statue. So that's what they're taking something that we considered wrong and they're going over there because it's our culture. Democrats, socialists, because there's still probably some Democrats left that are normal, but the socialist ones. I mean, I don't know anybody that wants to have a kindergarten kid learning about gender. So now you see articles about men that say that they become a woman, and then they enter all these sports things and they win all the contests because they're stronger. So I look at that and go, hey, when are they going to wake up? Let's go, what body part you are, that's what you are. You can't participate in wrestling and be a man and wrestle with a girl in a girl sport and then say because you identify as a girl. So how's the girl going to beat the man? It's not going to happen in wrestling because of strength. And maybe you're quicker or whatever, but the man has a big giant edge. Same with track. You know, you see this all the time now. where men are going after the women's
Yeah, I know.
sports. Why? Because they can win easier. So it's really sad. And cultural Marxism wants to get rid of all things. So that means religion, the Constitution, everything. They want to take our guns away.
That's the root cause.
Adolf Hitler said, take the guns away and then we control you. I mean, there's so many things going on, but it's all stemming to one thing. Globalism, big government, socialism, and people are indoctrinated. So you go to grade school, you're learning things about socialism, that it's good. Then you go to high school, same thing. Then you go to college. Now by then you're done. And then if you're a person that doesn't look for other sides of an issue, which a lot of kids, they're not taught critical thinking now. So now what happens? Do we have a society where there's no Constitution? At the county board, I've said it probably 4 or 5 times. I want to be on the committee that decides what laws we enforce. Because you got sanctuary county for guns. That means that in our county, because our county is a sanctuary county for guns by an ordinance we passed about 5 years ago. All right, but other counties did it recently. So what does that mean? That means that the state passes a law and our county says, we don't agree with your law, so we're not going to enforce it. Then you have sanctuary counties for illegals. Same thing. If you're Chicago's a sanctuary, so is Illinois. That means the law is there that says you can't do it, and we say we don't care. We're not enforcing that law. So now it's become an enforcement issue. So they have a law, but not everyone's going to obey it. So it's like the Wild West. Why can't I be on a committee that decides what laws we obey? Why can't you? Is it the media that determines what laws we obey and what's politically correct? And if it's the media, we're in trouble because those people are all socialists. And they don't realize that when socialism takes over, they ain't going to even be there no more because everything's controlled by the government. There's no freedom anymore. That's why all these Hong Kong, they're out there, we need the First Amendment. I've seen so many pictures like that. You know,
It's sad.
it's horrible. And our society is like, people are afraid. It's not what people think. They think that because we're supposed to be against illegals. Well, we're against the immigration that comes from illegals and all the bad stuff that corresponds with it. But we want immigrants. So there's a lot of people that are immigrants, and they make our country great. Especially now, because the way our schools are, if we don't get people from foreign countries, our kids can't do the jobs that are needed. So it's sad. And it's our job to fix it.
I get your message. Thank you so much. And then how can we change the politics?
Changing politics has to be done from the ground up. It can no longer be fixed by getting rid of the garbage at the top. You got to start at the bottom. So I'm a Republican committeeman. And the way I look at it is we need to change the structure of how committeemen work and how they're elected and who can be a committeeman.
At the same time, I want to ask you, what is success to you? Because this is a Global Leaders Network show. What is success to you, and then what brings you
I'm
happiness?
extremely successful because I'm happy. I'm very happy, and I'm very secure in myself, and I enjoy conflict. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on the county board. I don't care if I'm the only one in a room saying yes or no. Because I'm going to stand for what the people want. And I will defend the people till I'm dead. But it makes me feel good inside to do what I know is right. So success for me is doing what you're supposed to be doing here on earth. And I sure will do it and never quit and keep doing it. And I enjoy it. And you could probably tell I love what I do.
Right. Okay, thank you so much for coming to our station and sharing your story with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. This was cool.
Thank you for watching Global Leaders Network WINTV. If you want to watch this again, you can watch this through our website and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe us. And I want to see all of you next Thursday, 9 p.m. And until then, have a great week. Bye-bye, everyone.